to Happy Mum, Happy Baby, the virtual meetup. We are at the end of day one, and I really hope you've been enjoying trying out the different talks and the panels and the different workshops. If you haven't had a chance, don't worry. It's not going anywhere. It's all going to stay exactly where it is. So head to happymumhappybaby.com to see it all. It's all there. Tonight, it's called G and Friends, #MumLife. And essentially, it's a chance for me to sit in my pyjamas with a glass of wine with three amazing women. So tonight I am going to be joined by Georgia Jones, Rochelle Humes and Zoe Hardman. Hello ladies. Hi. But before I speak to you, before I do that, I just want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, Disney Plus. They have just launched Star, which you would have seen a clip of just before we came on. And on there are movies, there are TV series, there are documentaries, there are box sets. I have gone back in time, and I am binge watching Desperate Housewives. I have a whole new crush on John the Gardener, and I am very happy with that, to be honest. The other thing that Disney Plus have done is they have introduced parental controls, which is brilliant, because it just means that, you know, whatever I'm watching, the kids don't have access to. They've got their own profiles. I can go onto theirs, so I can watch PJ Masks if I fancy, but they can't go on and see John the Gardener and Gabriella up to all sorts. It's all fine. So thank you to Disney Plus for the parental controls, for sponsoring the event, and for John the Gardener. There we go. And if you're watching at home and while we're talking tonight, you want to get involved, you want to share some comments, some little anecdotes from your mum life, or if you've got questions, then please do get in touch. All right, ladies, how are you?
Hiya.
Hi.
How are we all? How are we feeling?
I'm fabulous.
Oh, well, she's got
Me
wine.
too.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
I've got wine.
That's not fair.
Oh,
Is that It's all fine. Hydrate yourself before you have the alcohol. It's all fine. It's all good. And I love the fact that we are all in our PJs. I've got to say, I didn't go full hog. I still had my bra on. I thought, you know, just to keep some control in my life. Yeah.
I was a bit concerned
on.
that I was going to be showing nipple, but I'm glad that it hasn't shown up in the
you're
light. So I was like,
good.
oh, I forgot my bra.
Oh, you forgot one.
I'm happy for you that you can forget one. If I forget my bra, you're all going to know about it. It's not you. It's not nice.
How is everyone today?
Great. Well as you can be. Yeah.
Just, the same. I think that's always my response at the minute. Like, I'm just the same.
Yeah.
That's it, really, isn't it? There's no, I feel like there's never any news to tell. It's, I'm just locked down.
I feel like a bit of a tit when I say to someone, what have you been up to? Or what are you doing at the weekend?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, don't ask that question. Gonna be nothing.
My mum's like, my mum is like, well, your sister rings me every day. And I'm like, well, yes, she's working on the front line. She's got lots to tell you about. I'm just at home doing bugger all.
Totally.
So true.
I always feel embarrassed when I have to try and think of things to say. You know, when you try and sound more interesting than you actually are. So you're sort of exaggerating things that have happened. Like the supermarket trip suddenly becomes like 2 weeks in the Bahamas. You're like, and then this happened, and then this happened in aisle 22. Whereas in actual fact, nothing happens.
Which has got to be hard for your. It's got to be hard for your radio show when you're pulling on real life. You know, every time you go on, you must be like, oh, what have I done this week that's a bit different? I was in the garden at one point. I went to the fun room. That was fun.
Yeah, but that's why the kids are so brilliant, because the kids will come up with stuff constantly that's ridiculous and hilarious. So I've always got them. Like this morning before 8 o'clock, Luna had said to me, your hair is grey, your eyes look dark, and your teeth look yellow. And I was like, I do not love you right now. Go away. Yellow? It's just really rude, but also great content.
It's really rude. Yeah.
It really is.
Does she not understand what you did
giving.
to her? Yeah, honestly. These kids.
Can you believe that we are now we've passed a year of this. I think when we first started, I don't think any of us saw this being like as long as I can remember talking to mates and then being like, oh, we'll be out by spring. And me being like, no, next year. Mark my words. And then be like, God, gee, your voice of doom. And I was like, I'm telling you. And here we are.
Called it.
Yeah, I was that friend of you. I was that friend of yours, G, that was like, no, they only said it's 3 weeks. What are you talking about? We'll be fine. Yeah, so I'm falling into that category of people that are still surprised that we're still here, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I always try to remain positive, and then quickly in the first lockdown I realised that positivity was slowly disappearing, and I was like, okay, I'm going how I thought it was going to go. I've literally got no control over this. This is new.
Yeah.
I think there was a point early on, though, in the first lockdown where you there was the whole thing of this is something that we're never going to experience again, fingers crossed, and we've got to make the most. We're never going to have that gift of having that extended time with our kids. We've got to make the most of it. So for me, I feel like I could sort it out in my head that way and kind of say to myself, it's okay if I'm not being as productive. This is quality family time. This is a global pandemic and we've just got to do what we can do. And I can remember sitting us all down actually as a family. I felt like this was my Pippa from Home and Away moment, where I sat us down for our first family chat. And I was a bit like, look, guys, there are going to be moments where we just really don't like each other, or we're going to be really irritated and we don't know why. And that's okay. We just got to remember.
Can you do it in your Australian accent, Jay, please?
You did it to them, and it really did go down well. But then you kind of live through it, and you're like, there are moments where it's great, and actually other moments where it's really not great at all, and no one can go anywhere.
Yeah.
We've had some really lovely moments as a family, because we've done, obviously everybody's been walking, but I think before there was coronavirus, you would sort of have to try for all of your weekends, and even the pickup from school, I was like, what are we going to do in these 2 hours? I haven't got an activity planned. And actually now we just go for a walk, and those walks are really magical, the ones that we're doing at the weekends, and it's just so much more simple. I'm not like trying to chuck cash at like a petting farm. I'm just like going for a walk with the kids, and we're looking at flowers. And even Kit, like, who's 2.5, he walks, sees daffodils, and he goes, Mummy, those daffodils. Well, he doesn't say daffodils because he's 2.5. He said, those flowers are beautiful. And I'm like, that's from lockdown. Like, that's because of what we're saying to him,
Yeah, exactly. And I think my kids have all of a sudden become, we're a big foodie household, but they see cooking with me as a treat, where I suppose as before this, I kind of like, I'm in for work, I've got to get dinner, dinner's going to get on the table, and, someone needs a PE kit for tomorrow and life is hectic. I think little things like just cooking dinner and Valley wants to sit on top of the island, and she's like, can I mix? Everyone's sort of getting involved in, I suppose, what was beforehand a little bit, kind of mundane activities have become like, I think because we're as parents trying to think on our feet, like, let's just put a fun voice on and sound enthusiastic and make this fun, and they might buy it for a bit,
Yeah. But I think, like you said, Zoe, it's that thing of, it's getting rid of that pressure to fill the time, and knowing that boredom is fine, and those mundane things like cooking that sometimes you would do in a hurry because there's no time for everyone to get involved and throw ingredients around. All of a sudden, it's like, come on, let's just do this. Let's just see if you take to this, and if not, it doesn't matter. You can just go off and do your own thing. But it might work, and it might fill a bit of time.
Yeah. That's all we want to do.
Me and Danny have just been really bored, though. Like, there's because we've both felt there's only so much you can do with your kids before you just like, they're bored, we're bored, you're in a foul mood, and you're in a foul mood. No one's having fun. We're forcing it. We're just like, let's go on another walk and go on your bike, and then you're going to kick off.
You're watching those programs where someone's making like a stegosaurus out of a loo roll, and you're like, I just don't know how to make a dinosaur out of some sort of like paper plate thing. And I've failed as a mother. Those
am I a bad parent because I've not done that and made a whole TikTok out of it? Like, does that make me a bad parent? That's how I feel. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, some days, and I think I really found that in the first lockdown, because I was really struggling with morning sickness. I was pregnant with Blake. and it was just a bit of a weird time to be pregnant. And it was at that time when everyone was like up and they were doing Joe Wicks at this time, and then by that time they had the whiteboard out and it was the next activity, and I was literally just in the toilet like on all fours. So you know, when you're just it made me feel like so bad, like I've not made a banana bread that day, and I didn't do. So I think there was at one point I found it a bit of a pressure, I suppose, to try and make everything happen.
Also, Rosh, for you're quite the arts and crafts queen.
Yeah, and
so not doing things like that must have killed you.
Yeah, you know me, I absolutely love doing stuff like that. But then when it becomes, because I find it fun, but then when it becomes a pressure, and then you feel like because the Insta world is doing it, then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I've not done that, and I do want to do things with my kids, but now I feel bad that I haven't, and having this sort of like mental battle with yourself over the fact that, you know, I don't know, whatever it is, you didn't do Elf on the Shelf right, or whatever it was.
I found the cooking.
We all talked at the same time.
We all talked. Yeah, go for it.
You go.
I go.
Yeah, keep going.
All I was going to say was, I just think Cooper's at an age as well now. Like he turned 3 like a couple like in January, and he's at an age where nothing lasts for longer than half an hour. So we might get the paints out, but we'd be painting for 30 minutes maximum. I'd be like, right, so what can we do now? Right, let's bake. Probably about 15 minutes you've got him for there. I'm like, right, now I need to think of something else. Play-Doh. So you go through it, and by about 10 o'clock in the morning, you've exhausted everything. And it's like,
we had a moment. We had a moment early on because we had Buzz and Buddy's birthdays just before the first lockdown. We had all these different gifts. So we had like little arts and crafts things that people had sent, little like Lego sets and everything. And I can remember one day, Tom had got out 4 different sets. And I was like, whoa, we're in this for the long run. Like, pace yourself, honey, come on. There's no need.
Yeah.
That is such a dad move. That is such a dad move. Isn't it?
Yeah,
come on, let's just get it all out now.
Every Play-Doh colour out all at once.
Has anyone actually enjoyed the cooking, the washing elements to it? Because the pressure to come up with new meals for the kids every single day. Like I've got about 5 meals on rotation. They all involve like either sausages, fish fingers, chicken nuggets, mashed potatoes, and a pasta dish. And I'm like, there isn't any other food in the world now. I've completely run out of ideas. So I just can't wait until I can take my children out to a restaurant so that I don't have to cook.
I made tacos tonight for dinner, and it went down so well. No, but it's so simple. It's the easiest thing ever. Yeah. It's just tacos. It's just grab a bit of guacamole. You've got tacos, chop up some lettuce, put your mint. It's so easy. It was so quick.
Not when you've only got sausages and mashed potato in your house, it's not.
or a fussy child who probably eat anything other than fish fingers and waffles. That's about it.
Oh mate, God! Do you know what? My Valley went through that. So do you know what? I actually enjoy the cooking, I have to say, because as I said before, like if I've got time off work, the first thing I want to do is cook. I find it relaxing. Like the chopping and the cleaning, not so much. That bit's just a bit boring. But cooking, I just really love. Like I would pour a glass of wine and get stuck into it. But what I wasn't feeling is, does anybody else's kids just want to snack all the time? Like I just couldn't keep up with how much the food intake, and thinking of another snack, and like then sort of trying to monitor it, because I'm like, we've been here for like the best part of a year now. Like I'm just giving snacks out willy-nilly, and I'm trying to come up with healthy solutions and trying to not like homeschool did something to snacking. I'm not sure what it was, but it went out of
my
control.
kids come up to me and they go, can I have a snack? And I go, no. And they go, I know where they are. And I'm like, then don't come to me and ask. Just go and get them if you know where they are. Because I'm going to say no.
I couldn't believe it when they went back to school and they were like, we only got 1 snack. It's like, because that is an appropriate amount of snackage to have in one day.
I think it's forcing for them as well, though, because have you noticed you snack a load more in lockdown as well? Like, I'm like, why am I eating? I'm not even hungry. I'm literally just putting stuff in my mouth just for entertainment. Oh no, that sounds really bad. No, I don't mean like that.
And you said you and Danny weren't getting on.
Yeah, sounds like you're having a lovely time. Lovely lockdown.
A chocolate biscuit.
Oh, chocolate biscuits.
It's so true, though. That's what she calls it.
Got it.
It is that thing, though. I do often find myself, I kind of come round and I'm just in the cupboard. And I'm like, wow, must step away from this.
Get your
mine's when
hands
the
from
kids
the
are in
fridge.
bed.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. When the kids go to bed, I'm like, oh, okay, they're in bed. I've finished tidying up. I've answered my emails. Snack cupboard.
Always a winner.
That's how it works.
What is your snack of choice?
Anything.
Mine would be lint mint chocolate, I think. Dark lint mint chocolate.
Lint mint
good.
chocolate.
Lint mint. Yeah.
Oh, I've not had that. That sounds good.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, nice. Really nice.
Mine would be crunchy nut cornflakes.
Yeah,
oh,
cereal's
nice.
a good one.
Can I just say, name dropping, so Mo Farah, he has crunchy nut cornflakes before he goes to bed, or Frosties. So, you know, it works for Sir Mo.
Yeah.
He also has 3 spoonfuls of sugar in his tea.
Yeah,
So
but he
I'm
also
just saying
runs
this.
like a marathon a day,
Well,
doesn't he?
there is that, Georgia, there is that. But, you know, I think if it's good enough for Sir Mo, it's good enough for all of us.
What's
Sally
the sugar
Elizabeth
shaming
has
that goes
said-
on with tea? If you say to somebody that you have a sugar in your tea, they go, oh, you don't have sugar in your tea, do you? And you go, yeah, well, it's a sugar, 1 sugar. Or 2 sachets. They cannot get their head around it. I get sugar shamed all the time at heart. I'm not going to drink tea in front of people now. People sugar shame me, Ross.
I get shamed because I don't drink tea or coffee, so I just get called a child. I'm like, have you got some squash? I'll have that hot. And everyone's like, who is this unsophisticated woman that doesn't drink tea or coffee? I'm like, why?
We've got some comments. Sally Elizabeth has said, I've turned into my mum. If you're hungry, have a piece of fruit. How many people have said that? I definitely have.
Yes.
Me.
And then all of a sudden, they're not hungry anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Laurie Martin has said, my 3-year-old boy regularly says, I'm hungry, whilst actually already eating.
The worst is when they say I'm bored when they're eating, and I'm like, I'm bored of it too, mate.
Yeah.
Really bored.
Oh, God.
It is that, isn't it?
Just
I think there
working
has
out.
been this feeling of everything being so monotonous. And I think sometimes early on, especially, I could kind of get my head around it. But then I found Mondays especially hard because it's that feeling of, and again. You know, I've never believed in like Monday blues before.
Yeah.
But the last year has definitely felt very different for that.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Find the
Yeah.
motivation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're back to the start again and you've got that hog of a week to go, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think particularly when homeschool came to play, I was like, oh, like typically I was talking to my best friend about it. Yeah, exactly. I was talking to my best friend about it and we were saying, like, do you remember when we used to say, we've got the kids off school for like over 6 weeks? Like, you know, what are we going to do? Like, that's a long time. And then now I would be, and when it was homeschool, I was desperate for Friday so we could have the weekend off of homeschool. In what universe is that normal? You know, it's crazy.
How did that found homeschool? Georgia?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't have homeschool,
Georgia.
did you?
No. See, I got off lightly out of the 4 of us. We had the first chunk was no nursery, wasn't it? I can't remember. It's so long ago. I've forgotten what even happened.
Yeah.
So that I found that really difficult because me and Danny were both still working at the same time while trying to look after Cooper. So we ended up having to work out and take shifts. So one of us would do the morning, the other one would do the afternoon. And thank God, Cooper, believe it or not, still naps. So
lovely.
So that was like our little chunk where we just had a bit of peace. Because by the time it gets to 7 o'clock, you're so tired. You're like, right, should we just go to bed then? And
totally.
And it was almost awful. Like I've spoken to a few of my friends who've said the same thing. you're almost willing bedtime, because it's like, oh, you know, I'm done with today. Let's just go to sleep. It sounds really awful and depressing, but it was just like, oh, this is so exhausting. But yeah, and then now obviously Cooper is back at nursery, which is just bliss.
A dream. Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. You get so used to that before, and then to have that back, you're like, and you feel terrible saying it. And I remember calling my cousin about it, and she my cousin Ella, she's got 6 children, and they homeschool all. Well,
I love
some
them.
of them are young.
Wow.
Oh, they're so brilliant, aren't they?
They're such
she
a great
homeschools
family.
anyway. They're so brilliant. But when I was calling her, and I picked up the phone to her, and I was like, Ella, how? Like, tell me.
Yeah.
You've got 6, and you do. But
her
so she's
children
kind
are
of
so
like,
polite and like well mannered and just focused. It's incredible, absolutely incredible.
It's insane. They turn up. They're all dressed. They're immaculate. She's immaculate. They're like well behaved. And I'm like, how do you you know, where most of the country is sort of breaking down in homeschool. Oh my goodness, we can't wait. Like, I take my hat off to her more than I ever did before. Like, it's incredible.
It was very hard to do it if you had younger kids around. I remember one day I was recording a podcast, obviously from home, and I was having to ask the person that I was chatting to a question, put myself on mute. Isla, my stepdaughter, was going, how do you do this maths fraction? And I was like, well, I don't have a clue about maths fractions anyway, but this is going to be really difficult. Kit was trying to do a wee in the corner of the room, missing his potty. Luna was throwing, and I was like, this is impossible. This is, there's a chance I'm going to leave and not come back at this particular moment. So I think if you had other children to look after, / trying to do your job or Zoom, or it was just an impossible task. Actually impossible.
It really was. 100%.
I massively had to lower my expectations of myself and just say, you're not going to be as productive as you usually are, because there's that thing. So this is my office, and Buzz had his little station there, and I'd be sat at my desk and I'd be trying to write a book, and then I'd get a maths question, and you kind of like, your brain is constantly going off. And what we did lockdown 1 is that Tom would take the younger two, so he'd go off for a walk, especially when he got to this time of year and it was sunny and lovely, and then I stayed with Buzz, and then we'd all kind of come together in the afternoons. We kind of found a way of making it work. But then as soon as we hit this time round and there's 2 kids to homeschool, you're just like, geez, that's a 2-man job there in itself, and then you've got the 3rd child to look after.
Yeah. I think you find like your patience is sort of like, you know, tested, I suppose, in that time, like you say, particularly if you've got work to do and there's other stuff, you know. I mean, running a house is something in itself, but when you're trying to work from home and do kids, make sure that one's schooling, make sure that one isn't winding the one that's schooling up and getting in her way when she's trying to focus and all of that sort of stuff. I think you kind of just have to, I don't know, just sort of admit to defeat. But then also you have to remember that it's so weird for them. So as you know, as much as it tests your patience, we have never lived through a time where we get taken away from our friends, we get stuck in front of a computer or whatever that might be, and however they're schooling, and you know, they're young, so you try and protect them from it. They don't, you know, fully understand. I mean, we don't fully understand what's going on in the world. So I think it's when I think of it like that, I do. Then I would feel really guilty, and then I'm like, right, come on. If I'd been short that day, and I'm like, I don't know, not now, and I'd snapped or something, and then I think, oh goodness, you know, this must be so weird for them.
Do we? Make me feel better.
Yeah.
We can all be shouty mum, can't we? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. 100%.
I felt
I think
like,
that's what
weirdly, the first chunk of lockdown, I felt like it had given me the gift of kind of trying to work out differenting methods and seeing what worked and what didn't. Am I breaking down later, Mike?
No.
Yeah,
you're right now.
I'm not. So it gave me that kind of going, okay, that was that day. I tried that out. That didn't work. Let's start again.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
It's still working.
I definitely have been more
what did you think, George?
snappy. I've definitely been more snappy. And I think what was difficult was because obviously we're going through this as well as the kids going through it. And I was obviously have definitely struggled throughout lockdown. And there was times where I would cry in front of Cooper, which I'm not ashamed to do because I want him to understand emotions. But it got to the point where Cooper kept going to me, "Mummy, you're sad." I was like, "Oh no, sweetheart, I'm fine. Like, don't worry." And I couldn't go to him. The thing is, mate, we're in a lockdown, and I can't see my mum and dad, and I feel a bit shit. I've got anxiety. And I'm really struggling because you can't do that to a toddler.
You can't. No,
so it was
of course.
I was like, "I'm not sad. I'm fine. Everything's fine." And it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, and
it's good to show them. I think it's nice that you cried in front of them.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
You do have to show your emotions to them because you want them to be able to show their emotions as well. Like I said to Cooper, he's gone through a bit of an angry stage. I think it's potentially he's watching possibly films that aren't quite his age level. They're Disney, but they're maybe slightly more aggressive than what he would normally watch. And he went through a bit of an angry stage. I was like, right, I think we need to scrap Wreck-It Ralph for a while. Go back to
I knew you were going to say that.
Go back to slightly younger ages. Like Frozen, he loves that. I mean, cars, all sorts, but flipping heck. And I said to him, if you're feeling angry, you just say, "I'm feeling angry. Can I have a cuddle?" So now he's gone off to nursery. Just keeps asking for a cuddle.
Oh, that's so cute.
That is so cute.
If only an argument could end like that. Anyway, like if you were really, really grumpy with your partner, if you could just say, "Look, I'm just feeling really angry. Can we just have a cuddle?" And so, that would save all the passive aggressive dishwasher slamming of the doors. And I'm leaving now. I'm going into the downstairs loo because there isn't anywhere else to go.
I have definitely had it this year where because we're all at home and I feel like everyone is asking something of you every second of the day, I have got to the point where there are times, especially first thing in the morning, I cannot look at Tom because I just think I can't have another person look at me, grab eye contact and then ask me to do something. I'm going to just switch off and zone in on this because that will save me. Otherwise I'll be at boiling point and I will tip over.
I get that. There was...
go on, Rosh.
No, I was just going to say there was one point through lockdown where I knew what the conversation would be come about 4:00. And Marv, he would never obviously say or assume, but he'd go, "So what are we thinking for dinner tonight?"
Oh, God.
And I'd be like, "I don't know." One day I just remember saying, "I don't know. I'm not thinking dinner. Are you thinking dinner? I thought lunch. I thought breakfast." And it was just like... and bless him, he just looked at me and was like, he didn't even say anything. He was like, okay, take out tonight? And I'm like, yes, I think so.
But you had the excuse of pregnancy hormones, having a new baby, like you've had all of that excuse.
I mean, do you know what? I don't even think it was. I think I just do bloody want to think about being responsible for a minute. That's one thing, like Zoe said earlier, like I just cannot wait to like have a meal either at somebody else's house or a restaurant, and it doesn't need to be like it can, it could be McDonald's. It doesn't have to be something fancy. I just want to everything be taken care of. And I think, like, when in your life do you think about sort of 3 square meals a day, daily? Like, that was all I had to do. So it's like, what do you fancy for breakfast? What do you fancy for dinner? And I was bored of listening to myself. What time are we going for a walk? That was like that was just the only conversation that we had. So I think, just to sort of be in a restaurant and hear other people talking on the table across from you and just hearing that buzzy
people
atmosphere
watching.
And people watching.
One of my favourite pastimes, watching other people's conversations.
You just want to get nosy.
And guessing if they're on a first date, guessing how long their relationship, if it's going well, where she got her outfit from. I do it too. I love it.
Some of my Tom's our whole conversation is about other people. It's like sometimes we're just like, they've not said a word to each other all meal. And then we'll make everything up about why. I love it. Deborah Shelton.
I love that Tom entertains
he does.
Reggie,
No, he does.
Danny is literally like, stop staring at other people. I'm like,
he does
I think they're
sometimes.
breaking up.
He does sometimes say, do you want to go sit with them? And I'm like, can I? But Deborah Shelton has been in touch, and she said, my daughter has gone from eating a limited diet to trying new foods, and there's nothing she won't try. Lockdown has been such a positive for me, from a not so stressed mum now, homeschooling. There we go. I mean, that is a positive. So her daughter, she's had the time to try new things.
Yeah.
What is your positive that you are taking away from lockdown? I have two that I can share straight off the bat. Mm-hmm. One is an Ethernet cable, because my internet is so bad that I've got an Ethernet cable. I've gone back 15 years, but my life is good. The other is Crocs. It's not parent related.
No.
This,
wow.
No. I can go inside. Is it a slipper? Is it a shoe? I don't know. I don't care. It's just comfy. All right. No one can see. No one can judge me. There we go.
No.
Absolutely.
We're your friends.
You
we can judge you.
That.
You're judged.
I'm so here for that.
But what are your positives? What are your parent positives from coming out of lockdown or from this whole experience?
Oh, well, I've got two.
Oh, you've potty trained, Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, Georgia, you potty trained.
Finally, yeah. It was the only thing that actually, because the first lockdown, I was like, God, we should do it then because it was hot and he was naked all the time and it just would have been perfect. And then a second lockdown came anyway, and a third one. So I was like, oh, we've got plenty of time. And then Cooper got sent home from nursery because there was a COVID case there. So we had to lock down, isolate for 10 days. And it was those 10 days, and we just obviously couldn't leave the house. So we just smashed it in those 10 days, thank goodness. And Coops was totally ready for it. So, that was
Have you nailed number
milestone.
twos as well, or just number ones?
Yeah, we have. It's been an ongoing process. We have been on and off and on and off with doing it. It's almost like when you get busy sometimes prior to lockdown, you just like, oh, it's kind of not convenient now because we're not going to be here, and it's just a pain. It's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah.
But now, I think because we've done it tried so many times, Cooper was probably a bit like, here we go again.
I've got this. I've nailed this last time, Mum. Actually,
I'm not starting this again, Mum and Dad. Let's just poo in the potty now. So he did.
Oh,
we
amazing.
literally bribed him with chocolate.
Oh,
he's now.
I've done that every time.
Yeah,
Smarties.
How are we gonna wean him off the fact that every time he goes to the toilet, is he going to be like 13, being like, "Where's my chocolate bucket? I'm just gonna poo."
Look, I know people who have to get completely naked to poo. That is far worse, I think, than just wanting a little pack of slices after you poo. All right, adults have to get. I know adults who get completely naked to poo.
Is it
like in a restaurant bathroom or like a public loo at the park? What do you mean? Where?
I haven't quizzed them that far, but I know that when they're at home.
To find out.
That is so
weird.
Rush, what are your positives? Oh yeah, Georgia, do you get naked?
No, but when I was younger, I reckon maybe like 6, 7. I used to have to take my pants and trousers off to feel comfortable enough to poo.
Go, girl.
You're learning a lot. You're sharing a lot tonight.
I love that, Rush. You go, girl. Yeah, that's good.
Go, girl. I'm into it.
You
do you, boo. I like it.
Rush, what are your positives? I mean, you've got a baby.
I've got a baby. I think the one big positive for me was my life is normally so busy and so here, there, and everywhere that I could be at home and focus on different things, solely my business. I had a lot of time to sort of sort everything out and not distracted by other stuff that I've got going on. So that was brilliant. But obviously being pregnant, really sort of take pregnancy in the first lockdown, once all the sickness had gone, and just really sort of just really soak it up, which I sort of haven't done before because there's always been something happening. And then once Blake arrived, just be just literally soaking up every drop of that newborn baby and And still now, really, like I'm starting. And what's funny is I think a real positive for me is that it just changed my outlook on life and how maybe my previous work life balance was. So for me now, I'm like, I'm only working this amount of days in that week, and this is what time I finish, and this is what time I'll start. And I do want to make sure I've got time to put a bit of workout in there, because mentally it is so good for me. So I've been doing that every morning, and I've been doing that live on Insta actually. So just really thinking about, you know, when you take everything away and you don't have anything and there's nothing going on, sort of putting that into perspective and saying, okay, when everything comes back now, well, we've all survived without it, so this is how I think suits me and my little family, and just putting us and everything that we do first. Also, back to, I forgot whose comment that was, who said that their little one had been trying a lot more food. Valley is like, really, she's brilliant now. She eats the same meals as us, which is like epic.
That's
so
amazing,
yeah, that's another
Rosh.
positive
That's
for me.
amazing.
Because you've not got a rush
dreamy.
anyway. It's not like you're on a tight time schedule as you would have been before. Things can be a little bit looser. Like we still kept our routine, because I think me and Tom would have gone nuts without that, and I think the kids would have gone nuts without it. But you realise that if dinner goes over, if you're a bit late to the bath, there's a bit more leeway, I think. So you can sit and just try offering things over and over again, and you just have a little bit more time. And I do think for us, we had less people. And we had less people in and out, obviously, because no one was allowed in or out. So for us, just seeing how much actually that disrupts their behaviour and how much that has an input on what they're doing, that was really interesting for us.
That's really true. Phase. I didn't think of that. That's so true. Yeah.
Well, so often for us, like dinner times would be when grandparents are saying goodbye, and so you've got that whole thing of then they're running around the table and they're not sitting still, or they're fidgety. This has definitely given us, like, we sit down at the table now as a family of 5 the majority of the time, although I should touch wood because tomorrow will go tits up. The majority of the time, everyone is there and just enjoying food, and we're chatting, and it feels like we're a slightly more grown-up family in a weird way.
Yeah,
really nice.
Yeah, I did. I totally relate to that. Totally relate to that.
You three as families all sit together then and eat at the same time? Because this is something because we've already got Cooper. Like, he has his tea at 5, and then we sit down at like 7.
Yeah. Georgia, we're the same as you. So I'll feed the kids at 5 o'clock, and they sit up at the bar, the breakfast bar, and they're sort of chatting, and I'm chatting with them. I'll sit down and have generally wine or some alcohol, any description. And then they eat, and then I get them in the bath, get them to bed, and then Dozza and I cook in the evenings at about 7:30, something like that. We'll eat, we've just eaten before now. So we do that together. But on a Sunday, we try and have a roast together, or spaghetti bolognese or something. And that's something, again, that's come out of lockdown, because I got into, I don't know about you guys, but I got into this really weird habit of pre-lockdown of being so, like, a bit like Rosh, just rushing around. I think my work-life balance wasn't that great, and so when they were eating, I was still like trying to be on emails or trying to take phone calls, or if I was at home at that point, so I put them in the playroom, and I feel terrible about that, in front of the telly, and just be like, oh, you guys have got your little table, you're going to sit there. But I was noticing their eating habits were becoming quite strange. Like, I couldn't get Kit to eat anything, and Luna was sort of picking or going quite fast, because apparently when kids eat in front of the television, it can bring some quite challenging eating habits. Yeah, I didn't know that. So actually, do you know what? During this last lockdown, I've been like, right, that's it. No more food in front of the television, and they sit up at the bar, and I've noticed dramatic improvements in their eating and their fussiness as well. So that's been brilliant. That was
I guess it's the same thing.
That makes sense.
It's the same thing, isn't it? It's that focus. Me not having people coming in and out, the kids not having their TV at that particular time, saving it for like a different time. It's focusing on the task in hand, which is having their dinner.
Yeah. And we do it together. Every night we do eat as a family, but I think that's Marvin works evenings. That's probably got a lot to do with it. It's not like we wouldn't get our time to then eat together when they're in bed, if you know what I mean. But do you know what it is? I do actually like that we eat together. We make a thing of like no iPads, no phones, like we just eat and chat. And then I actually think that's actually the time that I found, especially lately now, Alaya will be 8 in May, so she's she's getting a big girl now, and that's sort of the time where she'll sort of open up and or tell us a random thing that happened. When they normally come out of school, they're like, no, I can't remember what I did today. No, nothing happened. And then she'll say that in the car, and then hours later at dinner, she'll say, oh, today, and tell us. So I actually I really sort of appreciate that time. Yeah.
Well, and that's also that lovely. Oh, did you?
Oh, like I remember when I met Doz, and I was thinking, oh, he's good looking, he's funny, he's bright. I was like, oh, this is great here, like nice body, amazing bottom. I was like, tick, 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 great. And then he was like, I don't really like going for a walk, and I was like, you don't like going for a walk? What? I was like, oh, I can't marry this one. This is a disaster. But obviously over the years, I've sort of encouraged him that it's actually a really nice thing to do, to be out in nature. But the kids love it as well. Every day now, they're like, when are we going for our walk, mummy? They really want to be outside and running around. And it's like, come rain or shine, that is now something that we do. And someone said to me the other day, kids don't really know when you have a bad weather day. They just know if they're wearing the wrong clothes. And it's like, we just put the wets on them and they just go for it. It's so lovely.
It's so true. In fact, they prefer the wetter days than the sunnier days. They stick their wellies on and they think they're Peppa Pig and jump in puddles. They love it.
Yeah.
Talking of walking, Hannah Hangrati got in touch to say, I got to see my baby take his first steps a year ago this week. Had lockdown not hit, I would have been in the office, so I would have missed it. And there is that, isn't there? We have been able to be a part of our kids' lives in a way that we wouldn't have been necessarily. And that is weird now that they're back at school. Although it's amazing having them go off and, live their own lives. In another way, it's weird not knowing what they're up to.
Yeah.
So true. So true. I cried so hard, and I didn't think I would, because as we have probably gathered from this conversation, I wasn't the biggest fan of homeschool. I tried, but I just found it. I don't know if it's because I had a small baby as well, but I just found there was a lot happening in my house. That being said, that day when I dropped her off, I cried so hard. I was so ready for her to go back. I couldn't. I called my mum and I was sobbing, crying. Yeah, really found it hard.
I was like that, calling everyone. Come on, let's order some drink. No, I wasn't really. I get it. I totally get it. It's hard. You're glued to them, and then suddenly you don't know. Like, it is difficult.
Oh, babe, this was in the morning. By lunchtime, I was opening that prosecco.
There she is. There she is.
Has anyone else found though? This time round, since them going back, I have found that when they get in the car, they actually want to talk to me. Pre all this, they'd get in the car and I'd be like, what did you get up to today? They'd be like, don't remember. What did you have for lunch? Can't remember. Who did you play with? No one. You're just like, what? Whereas now when they get in the car, they actually want to talk to me, and that's lovely. It feels like we're at this stage where we actually, or just because we've been together so much, they kind of want to tell me about their day, which is really, really lovely.
Yeah, and they look forward to seeing you.
Yeah. Hoop's speech definitely improved. Sorry.
Has it?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because obviously Cooper, he was really slow starter with his language, like really slow. But during the first lockdown, I think just being around me and Danny, he just came on leaps and bounds. I think it was just being with adults 24/7 talking.
Well, and you guys, so you're constantly talking to him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas when he's at nursery, as much as he's around people, it's all other children that have like limited vocabulary. Oh God, he's screwed with me, isn't he?
That was classic. Brilliant timing, that.
Philippa has got in touch and she said, huge positive. My now 3-year-old is fluent in Portuguese as well as English. Oh my God. Our mother tongue was going to second place with him, spending full days at nursery, spending 7 months at home with him. My husband and our now 1-year-old daughter really brought us together. That's so cute.
That's amazing. I love that.
Gosh, that's amazing. See, that's a productive lockdown.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? I picked up no new skills, but that little
I was just
child...
about to say that. I haven't done any skills. I haven't perfected any skill. Like, what am I better at? I'm just not sure. Is anyone?
I can remember early on.
Brilliant at baking
I'm not
bread.
better at.
I don't know.
No. I can remember early on being there's all these things going around about all the new skills, all the time that we're going to have just like spend on perfecting new things. I was like, whoever's doing this, they don't have kids.
No,
there is no time.
That is, I mean, you've never said a truer thing right there, because I don't know what new skill I came up with. I was like,
just cleaning.
Maybe like I got better at giving myself like a manicure, or like, something really basic.
I can dye my hair. I can dye my greys. I've done a packet job. Oh, don't look closely now because I need to redo them. But I did them a month ago by myself, and it wasn't a disaster.
I'm so impressed. You've got a similar colour to me, haven't you, Zoe? Because we went to the same hairdresser.
Babe, I'll send you the packet. I'll send you the packet, babe.
I'm well impressed that you managed to do that.
That's so good. That's so good.
I cut my own hair in lockdown, but I literally did this. I was just so bored of seeing it. Got out of the shower, I did that, just went, chop. And I went, let's try and even up, chop. Yeah, I mean, thankfully I did have probably quite blunt hairdressing scissors. I mean, it was all right. And then I was on TV months later and was like, shit, I haven't actually really had my hair done since I cut it.
I know. Is that when you were in the castle? Is that when you were in the castle?
I got my hair properly cut for that.
You were so good.
You were so good.
Oh, thank you. Good. I mean, I think any other year the mum guilt would have been strong. After having solid 8 months with the kids before going in, I was like, I've earned this time. I'm good.
You're like, do you know what? We've not seen you. If it means that I can get to eat, if I can get to eat at a table, even if it's kangaroo balls, I'll do it and then have to cook.
So true. Bring me the kangaroo balls quickly.
That was G's 2020 spa weekend.
You bloody did have a spa weekend in there as well. You went in that hot tub, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And that was lovely. Russell Watson just singing to us. What a weird end to a crazy year. Very odd.
Right.
I didn't learn any new skills in there, I don't think. So, I thought I would.
You did win though, so who cares about skills? You won.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? It is that thing. I don't think that none of us, we're never afforded that time to just sit. And I think some of lockdown, that is what we all kind of got a little bit of, maybe first lockdown. And now I think there's this big juggle where we're all trying to play catch up with ourselves. So even more so now, we need those lessons, if you like, that we learned first lockdown to kind of go, and let's just sit. Let's just, we don't have to be anywhere or do everything all the time. I think that's super hard.
Yeah, I think definitely. I've started a new thing which I really want all three of you to do, because I'm trying to get everybody to do it. I have started not going to bed with my phone. Girls, it changes your life. I plug it in the hallway. Well, this is it.
Marvin's not there, so
chocolate biscuits.
Wouldn't you like to know? I actually watch something without looking at my phone. I leave my phone out there. I sleep better. My subconscious doesn't make me think I need to email someone. Like, honestly, trust me, it's the best thing ever. I bought a clock and I bought a notepad for the side of my bed so I can see what time it is. If something's in my brain, I write a note, I need to email somebody in the morning, and I just do it in the morning. Trust me,
God,
it's amazing.
Granny, you've got a clock. You've got a clock. Like, Grandma, I love that. That's so good. Does it go tick, 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 tick?
It's an old lady clock.
I love that.
Well, we've just bought because of Tom talking to Danny, and basically you could sell ice. What is it? Ice to Eskimos. You could do that with Danny. And Tom had no matter what the McFly boys talk about to Danny, he comes home and decides that's what he absolutely needs in his life, even if it doesn't suit him whatsoever. It was nearly moving to like 2 hours away at one point, just because one of the other boys was moving. I was like, but anyway, Tom had sold him this brilliant story of a weighted blanket, so I bought him one for his birthday. But actually,
good.
We are all such old people. Good. They've got Crocs, we've got gravity blankets, and we've got clocks. There we go.
Speak for yourself. We're not all.
Shut up, grey-haired one. We've all got grey hair as well. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been such a laugh. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's been nice to see some of the positives that have come out of lockdown as well. It's not all been doom and gloom. There have been some positives. And thank you to everyone at home for watching and getting involved with your comments and everything like that. And a huge thanks to Disney Plus for sponsoring. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.